guys, what I have with me today is the brand new vlogging camera by Sony. It's called ZV-1 or ZV-1 depending on where you are. And Sony is promoting this camera as a vlogging camera, and I am a vlogger. I'm going to test whether this is a good vlogging camera or not. We're going to talk about a few things where this camera shines as a vlogging camera, and also a few things where it really sucks as a vlogging camera. This, by the way, is the RX100 Mark VI. And if you've done any research about a good vlogging camera, this camera always comes in the top 5. This is an amazing camera. This new ZV-1 is very similar or almost same as this camera. So why did I buy this camera? Let's find out. Now let's talk about some of the good things about this camera. And the number one for me personally is the audio. If you listen to any of the experts, any of the content creators, they will tell you audio in a YouTube video is more important than the video itself, the quality of the audio. And that is exactly where the RX100 Mark VI lacked. I mean, they tried to fix it in the RX100 Mark VII, which I will talk about later, but let's consider like previous generations of RX100 series, previous than 7. This one has 2 mics on top, but there is no real way to kill the wind noise, and also these mics are not directional. What they have done with ZV-1 is they claim to have put a 3 mic array here, which is directional, which will give priority on the front when you are talking to the camera. Also, they include this kind of a small wind muff that you can easily install on this cold shoe here. This is really easy to put on. That's it, which covers the mic, and what you get is it kills your wind noise. So let's go out and do some testing. Right now it's quite windy here, no wind muff on the camera. Testing 1, 2, 3. I'm sure you're gonna hear some sort of wind noise. It's quite windy here. Okay, a little bit more wind right now with the wind muff on. Guys, you tell me which one sounds better. Mic testing 1, 2, 3. Wind muff is on. Mic testing 1, 2, 3. And in addition to this wind muff, this camera also supports an external mic, which I think in my view is an amazing feature. Alright, this is the third test with the external mic on. I have a Rode Video Micro in the same wind conditions. Mic test 1, 2, 3 with the external mic on. Mic test 1, 2, 3. Alright, this is the same test on RX100 Mark VI. No wind muff. Mic testing 1, 2, 3 on RX100 Mark VI. No wind muff. Guys, how does it sound? Mic test 1, 2, 3 RX100 Mark VI. No wind muff. Alright, that was the wind noise test. Do let me know which one do you think was the better one. I think you are gonna go with the one which was with the external mic, but I personally think even without the external mic, just with this directional mic and the wind muff, this camera sounded really well. Just for that reason, I would pick up the ZV-1 over RX100 Mark VI. Now let's talk about the next item, which is the screen of this camera. So people have been asking Sony for a long time to provide a screen which opens on the side. RX100 on the other hand has a screen, a selfie screen, which opens only on the top. Now why the ZV-1 is better? Because if you're going to have an external mic, and if the screen opens on the top, you basically can't even see yourselves. So that's why to support an external mic which you're going to mount on this cold shoe here, it's better if the screen opens up like this. Now since we are talking about the screens, I want to tell you that not just this camera, where all the Sony cameras really suck is the lack of touch functionality on their screens. I mean, there is some sort of functionality which is only to select focus, but you can't really change menu on the touchscreen, which I think is a big limitation. Now let's talk about some of the features which are brand new in any of the Sony cameras. And the first one is this defocus button. I mean, you can sort of create a very high quality bokeh effect in all of these cameras because they have a really wide open aperture. The one RX 100 series that I have goes all the way to 2.8. What is good about this camera is that it can go all the way up to 1.8, and it also has a built-in ND filter. So when you click on this defocus button, so they have already pre-programmed this defocus button on a C1 button right on the top, which is very convenient. And what it does is that just by clicking this one button, it internally changes your ND filter, your aperture, and makes your background either defocus, which is like enhanced bokeh or with more shallow depth of field, or clear, just by clicking on one button, which I think is really smart. Now, if you are a photographer, you pretty much already know about these features, and these are like manual controls which you can easily control, but they made this camera really friendly to those people who are not much into photography, not much into the technical details. Just press one button and it either focuses or defocuses the background, which I think is really convenient for new vloggers. And the next feature, which is really cool, is the product showcase feature. Now, if you are a YouTuber who does a lot of product reviews and you show a lot of products on the camera, this will be a very useful feature, because most of the cameras that we use, they are programmed to keep the focus on our face, but not on the object. So even if I bring an object here, this Sony camera is keeping a focus on my face, even though this product is very close to the camera. And something really cool about this camera is that it can switch the focus from the human face to that object really quickly. So if you bring a product in the frame in front of the camera and that product is closer to the camera, it will quickly shift the focus to that product, and when you move that product out of the frame, it will bring the focus back to the human face. Now, another good thing about this camera is the autofocus system is really amazing. They took their autofocus system from their latest RX 100 Mark 7, which I think is mind-blowing, and their real eye autofocus is amazing. Like within split second, it can focus on your eye and always keep following your eye. Now, something that I don't like about this camera, and just because of that I can't consider this camera as a perfect vlogging camera, is the field of view is narrower than I would like it to be. It starts with 24mm. I really want it to be like something like 18 or at least 20. 24 is not wide enough, and it becomes an even bigger problem when you use steady shot, because steady shot works by cropping your frame. And if you crop your frame, you're talking about like 26 or 28 mm, which is not wide enough for me. Another cool feature which is sort of unique about this camera is softening your skin. It can soften your skin, and if you are really conscious about how you look on the camera, this can be a really cool feature. So let me quickly show you how does it work. So basically you go into the function and and there you have this soft skin effect, and you have 3 levels here: low, medium, and high. Let's do a test on all of these levels. All right, this is when there is no effect applied. My skin should appear the way it is. There is no softening applied right now. Okay, this is soft skin effect low. This is soft skin level medium, and this is soft skin level high. Which one looks better or natural? Please comment in the comment section below. And one good thing which I like about this small camera, which is even lacking in this like $3,000 setup that I have, is when it is recording, do you see this red light? Why did it take Sony so many years to just show this red light? Like, and even in this A7 III, there is no way for me to know that am I being recorded right now or not, which is really disappointing. And this small camera can finally show this kind of a red light that shows me that I'm being recorded. Now, in order to support external mic and also this wind muff, they had to compromise, sort of sacrifice two things. Unlike an RX100, which had a digital viewfinder, there is no viewfinder in the ZV-1, and also no flash, because that's exactly where they has this big 3-array mic and a cold shoe to mount your external mic. Now, one more feature which I think is personally very important for me when it comes to the vlogging camera is the low light performance. Now, RX100 has an amazing lens which is 24mm to 200mm, but the widest aperture on this camera is 2.8, whereas on ZV-1 it's the widest it can go is 1.8, which I think is great when it comes to the low light performance. Let's go out and check some low light footage of the ZV-1. So this is just to compare it to the ZV-1. What I'm using right now is a Sony A7 III, and the lens is Tamron 17 to 28mm, and the aperture is f2.8 right now. Now let's have a look at the Sony ZV-1. Alright guys, this is the Sony ZV-1 camera at aperture 1.8. ISO is auto, but this is a 1-inch sensor, not a full frame camera. The previous footage was from Sony A7 III, which is a full frame camera. I'm sure that is going to be much better. Even at f2.8 right now, I have f1.8 on the Sony ZV-1. Now let's compare it to the RX100 Mark VI. Alright, this is Sony RX100 Mark VI. The same time, looks like it is having a hard time focusing on my face, and also it's quite windy right now. No wind muff on the RX100, so you might be hearing a lot of wind noise. This is on f2.8, Sony RX100 on auto mode. f2.8 ISO is auto. So as you can see guys, I think the Sony ZV-1 will have a slightly better low light performance as compared to the RX100, but its performance when compared to the full frame Sony A7 III, it's a no match to that. Sony A7 III's low light performance is just incredible. Now for the price in Canada, this camera retails for $1,000, and in the US it retails for $800, but I think they have like around $50 off right now, which I think is a good price to pay for this camera, especially comparing it to the RX100 Mark VII, which in Canada is around $1,600. So this camera being a $600 cheaper than RX100 Mark VII, I think this camera is a great value for money. But guys, these were some of the high level features of this camera. I'm going to do an in-depth comparison of ZV-1 with the RX100, and also the most common vlogging camera that almost everybody has, their smartphone. I have an 11 Pro, so I'm just going to compare the quality of 11 Pro with the ZV-1 in the coming videos, and I will cover the other features in depth about this camera. So if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing, and if you like this video, hit the like button, and I will see you in the next one.